Okay, I'm about to start a project. I have a Razer MX650 that's it's got about less than 5 minutes on a charge. It's 5 minutes of ride time after a charge. This is a second. We've had this for a couple years now, so it's I've had to change the batteries twice already, and just getting tired of the lead acid batteries and the short life on them. So I've got I ordered a 20 amp hour 36-volt battery, and I'll post where I got that. I got it off eBay, and I have been charging it. It had nice instructions with it. I've been charging it for about 2 days now, but one thing I'll note is these, I don't know if you can see that, it's in Chinese here, but it looks like there's two red lights when you first plug it in. One of them, when it turns green, it's probably fully charged. It was fully charged in less than an hour. The instructions say to charge it for a full day. I doubt you actually need to do that. I got some, you'll see these, it's hard to see in the package, but they're big heavy-duty Ziplocs, or not Ziplocs, zip ties that I'm using, that I will use. I got a switch, and this will be used for the voltage indicator that I'm going to mount. I'm going to mount that right up here. I ordered a voltage indicator that I'll hook up here, and what else did I get? I got some spark-free connectors here that I got, which is nice. It came with that shrink tubing as well. Came with it. I'll post where I got all those, but you can get them off Amazon or eBay. And I've seen another video of how you do this, so I didn't even measure it, but I'm pretty sure this battery will fit in the under tray, and so we'll get started. Okay, a little bit more about this battery, and I'll post the specs and everything on the battery. It has two sets of leads, which is nice, and it has a BMS built in, so I don't have to put a lot of electronics in myself. Basically two power leads, and then charging leads. So I hooked up these charging leads just temporarily so I could charge it initially, and it's been charged.
Okay, I wanted to show you guys a few of the things that I bought here. One of the first thing is a battery. I just got it off eBay. Anything that's a 36-volt, 20 amp lithium. Mine's lithium ion, but any lithium 36-volt, 20 amp battery will give you, I think, 20 miles of range or so. This one is not built for the MX650. It's just happens to fit. Those are going to be about the right size too. So one of the things you really want to look at is the dimensions and make sure it fits in that lower tray. This one fits really well. There's even, you could be a little bit bigger than this and it would fit fine. The other thing you want to look at, the max discharge rate. This is 100 amp, and max continuous discharge rate is 50 amps. So that's plenty, way more than enough. This you also want to look at like the how many cycles you get out of it. If you do the math on the cycles on these, even though this seems expensive, it actually ends up being cheaper than if you were just to get the lead acid batteries and buy them over and over. This should actually last longer and be a better investment in the long run. This one was also nice. It had a 1-year warranty, 30-day free return. If you ride your bikes regularly, you'll be lucky to get a year out of the lead acid batteries. This one came with a charger as well, and it has a nice charger port you can see, which is that comes with it. So I've seen guys do videos where they're using the charger that came with the Razer. I wouldn't do that. I mean, these are way better chargers. So if you can get a battery with a charger, It came with these plugs too that I didn't use at all. The other thing I got these cable zip ties just off Amazon. These were 26-inch. If you could get 4 or 5 inches longer, it would wrap around completely with one. I had to double them up to get them to go around. These are very heavy duty. These are great. I got just some switches, some tools. I bought a bunch of switches. You only actually need one switch, but I just got, for future projects, I got a pack of switches. This is actually really great. I really like this this voltmeter, digital voltmeter. So I got that. It has these tabs on the side, so it pops in, and I didn't have to glue it or anything. It just pressure fits with those tabs. It's nice. And then I obviously got some XT90 connectors. These come with that shrink tubing, which is nice. Okay, now that we have the cover off, I'm going to show you a few things. Here's a fuse that I'm going to be reusing. I think it's a 30 amp fuse here that we'll reuse. The speed controller can be used. I stayed at 36 volts. I'm not trying to get more power out of this, although I think I will. I'll talk about that in a bit, but I think I will get more power out of it. And then here's, if you look at this, I'm going to reuse this switch. I mean, that's just connected to the speed controller, so I don't need to even do anything there. And then this plug-in, I'll keep that there, but I'll disconnect it, and then I cut a new hole for this charger plug that I have here. So there'll be a different charger plug that I'll connect there. And then the battery, it should fit in this tray down here. So this battery tray up here will be completely empty. This battery tray down here will house the lithium battery. And I'll reuse this battery plug. I'll just connect it to the battery and reuse that fuse as well. And the rest of the wiring, it should be pretty straightforward. I'm going to build a little harness for it because I will be connecting I think it's really important to connect on these lithium batteries because the voltage cutoff is so sharp. You could get stranded if you're not watching it. That's why I chose to use a little voltmeter that I'll be attaching. So I need a harness for that, and I'm going to build that and then I'll show it to you. Okay, one other thing I got this disconnected and I checked the voltage on it. The voltage on this 36 volt lead acid was about 36 volt, or it's supposed to be 36 volts. I checked it was about 42 volts after being fully charged. And this 36 volt battery, I think it's the high voltage is around 42 as well. So I really don't expect any performance improvement. If you want performance improvement, I looked at various options to increase performance at 36 volts. I think you really need to increase the system to 48 volts. So if you want to improve performance, I think you don't stay at 36 volts. That's a much more expensive. I've got kids riding this around, so I don't really care to improve them performance. I just wanted them to be able to ride longer. Okay, now that I got the other batteries out, I just slid this battery in to see what it would be like. You can see, I thought there was some chance that it would fit in the bottom, but I actually didn't expect it to. So you can see it hangs over a little bit on the sides. So that's okay. That's what I planned. I have some foam that I planned to put under there. And then you can see it's a little bit thinner than the tray too, which is good. So, and then because I won't be able to use, I'll show you, I won't be able to use this bracket that holds the speed controller. That bracket did fit over the battery and it holds the speed controller. I'll have to move that speed controller
I'll move it up to this tray too, because we won't be using that, which will be just fine. Okay, so I moved the speed controller up to the top. It actually bolts right in. It's perfect. It looks like those holes that were there for the bracket were like made for the exact same size, so it bolts right in, no problem. And then this is just some foam. This is actually foam that came with the battery to pack it, which it was convenient, so I just used it. And so the battery will actually sit on top of this, and then we'll strap it in using these big heavy zip ties. Okay, so now that the batteries are out, I'm going to cut this harness off, cut this off. I'm going to reuse that plug. And I'm going to actually use 2 fuses, one for the charging port and one because it is connected to the battery, so, and then one for the actual power. This one had 3. You don't need 3, but I'm going to use 2, and then we'll go ahead and start building the harness now. Okay, I have the first harness made. This is actually to the charging for the battery. This is for the smaller leads are for charging, and this is just got a connector here, and then I did go ahead and fuse it just because I have these 3 fuses from the original battery, and this goes to the charging port, which is connects to the charger. This charging port I'll install in this case. It has the original, so I'll leave this one and I'll just put another one right next to it. Okay, I'm just testing how this voltmeter works. You can see it's reading 42 volts. This voltmeter has 4 leads. It looks like one is for the actual power of the LCD and one is to test. For me, I think I just wire them together because the source of the battery is also, the source of the power is also what we're testing. So I just have them jammed in here, but I'll wire those together. And yeah, this battery is about 42. It looks like it's the same as, even though it's 36 volt battery, it's about 42 volts actually when it's fully charged, which is about the same as the LCD, so I'd expect basically the same performance. Okay, I have the harness, second harness built. So this will go to the battery here, and then I have, didn't turn out quite as pretty as I had hoped, but I've got the fuse to the connector for the controller, and then I've got another fuse to another fuse that goes to a switch or the voltmeter, and then I have the voltmeter. So, and not as pretty as I wanted, but let's check this out and plug it in. Actually, you can help me.
All right.
Okay. Just plug. This should go into the big one. Yeah, the big one. Yep. Plug that in there. Have my neighbor do it. So, and then that came on. So it's 42 volts. Okay. You want to switch that off? Oh, nice.
It works.
Okay. Yep, so it works. All right, now I got all the electric hooked up. So got the charger hooked up to this harness, and then the harness is hooked up to the small leads on the battery. So, and then I have this voltage indicator hooked up to the switch, hooked up to the fuses, hooked up to the battery, which has hooked up to the larger leads on the battery. Then this harness, this is the original connector hooked to the case, which it has the switch, and then that's hooked to the it's hooked to the voltage regulator. So you can turn this on now, and you can see the indicator's full. At the same time, you can turn, this is kind of hard to do, turn that on.
Oh, it's working.
Turn it off. And then, Joshua, come pull the throttle.
Pull the throttle?
Yeah. I'll lift this up and we'll test the throttle.
Just pull the throttle?
Just pull the throttle. Okay. There we go. Are you pulling it all the way? Okay. Okay, that's good. So I think all electronics are working, and I'll now put everything back together and we'll test it out. Okay, a few things here. I mounted this, just cut out a hole and popped it in. Just drilled a little hole for the switch. This harness now hangs down underneath. I'm not in love with that, so we'll see. I think I can get it to work, but that harness will have to go inside that box to connect. So I might lengthen that. I also connected this using these straps here. Connected that, and that holds pretty firm. It's also inside a box, so if it shifts a little, it's probably okay. I also plugged, mounted this new charging port, this old charging port that we won't use here, and the new charging port is connected on the back end to that new harness I built. Okay, one thing I had to change, I had to lengthen these because these have to run into the box. So okay, getting a little uglier because it's not as pretty as I wanted, but it's I got the wires. Wires are a little bit longer. They'll have to. This whole harness will have to actually go inside this box here. So I cut a little notch in here to feed the wires through. Okay, wrapping the straps around this way didn't work, so I've had to wrap them around this way, or else this case won't go on. So just change the direction of the straps, but I think it should be okay now. Okay, it's all put back together. Everything went back. A little hard with all those new wires, but this is all set up now, so you should be able to see your charge. So you can leave that on while it's running. This wire still works. You got this plug here, or the switch still works. Got this plug here for charging. You can see I turned that on, so it's good to go now. And we'll see. I'll have my son. Hello, Joshua. Have my son test it out. How was it? Same speed? Or is it faster?
It's a little faster.
Basically the same speed? Okay. Now you're going to go to the park, which you haven't been able to do before, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, my son just got back from riding the motorcycle. He's not smiling very much, but tell me about it. How was it? How was the speed? Was the speed about the same as before, or?
A little bit faster.
But not a ton faster, right?
No, just a tiny bit.
And then, how far did you go, you think?
Like 2 miles.
No, you went way more than that. You probably went about 5 miles, based on what you described.
Oh.
You went over to the park, and then you said you went up this really steep hill?
Yeah.
Like a monster hill. This hill that he's talking about is it's a monstrous hill, really steep. And you what was the voltage when you got back?
37.
So still not even down to the 36 volts. It's supposed to be a 36 volt battery.
Yeah.
So I think you could probably get 20 miles out of it. Easy, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. You pretty happy about it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.